Right, let's try again. Here we are. Welcome, everybody. It's exciting to have you here. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you can all hear me and see me. Maybe let me know in the chat to make sure that you can. Let me just see if I can. This is one of those things. Oh, hi, Ali. So, oh my goodness. So many friends here. Hello. Hi, Pam. Hi, Jess. Hi, Louisa. Hi, Laura. Oh my goodness. Katerina, Brona. I've not seen you in ages. Brona, it's lovely to see you. Amanda and Sojo. I don't know if it's Sojo or Sojo. Anyway. Oh, welcome to this 5 steps to a wildly successful business. I really appreciate you joining me today. And I'm really excited to be sharing all about this. So I want to just get started, but I'd love to hear in the chat where you are, because it's always good to know. Thank you, Jess. People can see and hear me. Hooray! It's always a good start. Because I know I can see I've got people who are all around the world today. So I'm in Edinburgh in Scotland today. It's fairly sunny. Woo! But I do want to just get started because I've got so much I want to talk to you about, and I'm really super excited about it. So let's dive in on this 5 steps to a wildly successful business. Well, I'm going to learn lots of different things today, but I wanted to pick out a few things that, would be a hopefully big things that would be interesting to you, and some of the things that I find most interesting. First one is about mindset. Mindset is really, really important to me, and it can be a really big stumbling block to us and our business, and we don't necessarily think about it. We're kind of thinking about business actions and all of that kind of stuff. We're not necessarily thinking about all of the stuff that goes behind it and ourselves. So it is a big thing, and we're going to be talking about that. How business growth actually happens. There's so many people on Instagram and TikTok going, I'm making, I don't know, 10K a month or whatever it is. But there's very little on the detail of like, what does that actually mean and how does it even happen? So we're going to kind of get into a little bit about that. How to get confident with sharing about your business. I know this is like a massive issue, especially for the good girls. Put our hands up and say that we're the good girls. So talking a little bit about why it's important to get confident and how do we actually do that? Like, going to be trying to share some real gold in terms of ways to do things, a strategy for growing, and lots more. So let's go. Hang on, someone coming in. And okay. So what I'd like you to do is I'm just going to talk a little bit about the good girl personality, just briefly, just because all the work that I do is really based on this one personality type. I'm not for everybody. And so kind of just, I think if you're here, then you probably already know that you are, but I'm just going to kind of just recap on that. So what I'd like you to do is I talk through these things. I want you to say if you have one of these, 2 of these, or 3 of these in the chat. So just like 1, 2, or 3. So you're a brilliant employee. You've probably been promoted and praised in every single job that you have. Everyone loves you working for them. They just love it. You're great at working alongside others. You're a real team player, and people want to work with you. They choose to work with you. If somebody needs help, they're going to ask you. And you're really empathetic. You're really great at knowing what customers and clients need. You're actually really good at preempting their needs, which makes you a fantastic business person, by the way. Not everyone is very good at that. And I think what can be difficult about us and our personality is we're like, oh, well, that's just how it is. But actually not everyone is like us. So let's praise our good bits. So are we 1, 2, or 3 in here? 1, 2, and 3, Amanda. Nice. Me too. Seriously, me too. Yeah. 1 and 2, Jess is all. Pam's definitely 1 and 2. Brona, yes, I know you are all of those. I enjoy working with you. 2. Okay, great. Okay, so Louise is probably 1, 2, and 3. All right, so we're in the right place. And if you're watching this on the replay, just even think to yourself, like when we go through the questions, just think to yourself, like what about you? So let's just talk a little bit about our dark side now. We can move on from it in a minute, but I just wanted to say those are some of the good things about us. But there are some things that we struggle with. And that can sometimes kind of keep us back a little bit. And that's when we understand ourselves, we can know how to manage ourselves. It's not about changing who we are. I'm really full on about that. We're not about changing ourselves. It's just about knowing ourselves better and managing ourselves better as well. So you struggle to put your knowledge and your skills to work for yourself. So it's great when you're working for somebody else, but when it comes to doing it for yourself, it can be like suddenly, for some reason, it feels like a struggle. You can feel overwhelmed when you're trying to make decisions, which can lead to delay and procrastination. Again, I want you to think, like, how many of these are you? Between 1 to 6. Let's do this in the chat as well. You put everyone else's needs above your own. I'd be surprised if you're on here and you don't do that, because that's one of our key traits that we have, which is great in a lot of ways for other people, but it's not always great for ourselves. So we just need to be more aware of that. And I think we just to be aware, we can become more mindful of that and make efforts to not do that too much. But I think probably you'll know if that's kind of something that you tend to do. When there are no externally enforced deadlines, you struggle to find the motivation to get things done. You probably, even without realizing it, have always been attracted to kind of certification programs and programs where there are deadlines, because you know you want to learn something. And you also know that one of the best ways for you to learn something is for a kind of a structured program with deadlines and assessment, and with someone saying, this is what we're going to do this week. You know, that really works really well for us. I'm not going to say that's a bad thing, but you're probably attracted to that kind of program. But that can be difficult, because when we have our own business, we don't necessarily have those, especially when we're starting a business, if we don't have like consistent customers yet. You're frustrated with yourself for not making progress, and you've started to feel maybe you don't have what it takes to run a business. So you may not want to share this in the chat. You may be fine to share in the chat, but like, if you think for yourself, like, how many of those resonate with you? Even if it's just a little bit, you can share in the chat. Some people are. Okay, so 1 through 5 for Brona, 1, 2, 3, and 6. Okay, well done, Amanda, because that's the kind of thing that we need to do for our personality. Pam has got 4 of them. Jess has got 6. So yeah, okay, we're all in the right place then. It's 4 and 5 for Katerina. Katerina, I'm not sure if you're Katharina or Katerina. Okay, so these are some of the issues that we can have, and that can kind of stop us a little bit. So let's move on from there. We don't need to go on and on about our weaknesses. Let's think about, like, what do we do about them? Just in terms of our personality, the good girl personality is like a series of traits that go together. We're on a sliding scale, and many of you will have done the questionnaire actually that I have on my website. And if you haven't, I will have a look in a minute and share the link, but it's just on thegoodgirlrebellion.com at the top. It's just a free personality quiz. We're all on a spectrum. It's not necessarily that we're all like highest for every single one of these things, but we tend to be higher than most people comparative to the population in these 4 things. So we're very high empathy. We're really good at thinking at what other people need. And in actual fact, sometimes this can be really difficult for you, because you find you're you're thinking about other people, and you're noticing where other people are and what they need, and if they feel distressed, and you're highly empathetic a lot. Again, it's on a sliding scale, but you will tend to be very empathetic. You have high integrity, so you have high morals. There are things that are really important to you, and you stay strong to those. You don't change your morals, they're just there. So you do what you think is right always, and you don't break that. You're a very reliable person. I think because we're empathetic, we tend to be very reliable, because we think about what other people want and need, and we really want to help people. We've got that real helper thing on the good girl personality. So we tend to be really reliable. If we say we're going to do something, we'll do it. If we say we're going to do something for someone else, we'll do it. Sometimes for ourselves, we might let ourselves down. But anyway, that's another story. And we do tend to work very well with accountability. When we have that accountability, that external accountability that you have in school, we go to school for decades, years, and we used to kind of having that accountability. And then when we're in the workplace, we've got to turn up on time and do our work and meet our deadlines, and those kinds of things work really well for us. There's also the inner rebel. Again, I don't want to get this just about personality, because I want to get into the business side of things, but you probably have your inner rebel, and when it comes out, it is like massive. So it is the kind of thing where you've towed the line, and you've done the thing, and you've done the thing, and you've done the thing, and then all of a sudden you are done with it. You quit that job, you get rid of that relationship that's been long term, you've had it with that friend, and you don't speak to them again. Like we can cut, we're a bit like elastic band, like we can take it and take it and take it, then boom, we're like, nope, back into shape again. So the inner rebel is important, and it is helpful to know about that. And also we want to try and get it so that we don't get to that stage where we just have to quit the job because we've told somebody that we were having problems in the first place. But anyway, lots to say about all of this, but I think it's just a good idea to have a basic understanding of our some of the main traits that we have, and the good things about it. Everyone has traits, and there are good things about them, and there are, should we say bad things? I don't think we'll say bad things. There are things that we just need to be more aware of for ourselves. How I know this is because this is me too. I'm on this journey to build my business too, and I struggled with these things. I'll talk a bit more about that as we go through. I don't want to talk too much about myself, but I think it's helpful to know a little bit about where I'm coming from. So I have this good girl personality. My first career was in psychology. I was a lecturer, lots of different places in London, including an undergraduate psychology degree in a London university. And I then moved on to working in educational technology and working with online courses, and I worked with the university to do that. When I worked with Brona, who is on this call, I was working for a company and then moved on to their online company, being employee number one for a very successful startup. And I also run my own oversubscribed other business as well. And I qualified with my lovely friend Ali, who is here, as a Wayfinder life coach. What's lovely about this, I'm just very briefly, because I want to not talk about myself too much, but I loved psychology, and I adored learning about how we tick and why we do things and how we're motivated and all of that stuff. And I studied counselling for a little bit, but it didn't really suit me. But life coaching, I just adore. I just love it. Coaching is my absolute favourite thing. So that is what I'm doing now, is working in business and mindset coaching for the good girls, for the good girl rebels. So anyway, what happened for me was I'd been working for this business, and I'd seen from zero how it had built up. And because when you work for a small business, you do all the jobs, like you have to do all of the different jobs. And I'd started, and so I'd learned all of the different things. And I thought, oh, okay, I know how to do this. I know how to start a business, so let's do it. And I did it, and I kind of immediately stalled out. And I was like, what is going on here? I know what to do. I know it takes time, but I know what to do. So why is it so difficult? And I came to the conclusion that the real reason that it was an issue was that I was trying to do things in the ways that I was learning from these great gurus and these great business people. So I was reading all the self-help books, I was looking at apps, personal development programs, webinars, I was doing all of that stuff. But I came to the conclusion that they were written by people who have a completely different personality to me, and they are motivated in a really different way to me. And when I realized that was when I was kind of like, okay, I need to just go back to the drawing board and see what will actually work for me and my personality. And when I did that, that's when things started to move and to grow. And I was just obsessed with sharing that with more people. So that is where this has come from. And I am absolutely completely obsessed with this. I really feel like there's so much more that we can do. I mean, so many people are just getting so stuck in that part that's between starting up a business and growing it to that kind of consistent income. There's so many of us who are stuck there, and I think there are ways through. And this is what I'm going to talk to you about today. So hurrah! Okay, there's a couple of bits in the chat. Okay, 100% yes, brilliant. Okay, so here we go. I haven't even spoken about this yet, so this is super exciting. But this is how I've been working, and this is what's working really well for me and my clients, my coaching clients. So let's go for it. So I'm calling it the Rebel methodology because everything needs an acronym now. It's very important. So let's go for an acronym. And what I'm going to do is talk you through each one of these letters. And as I'm talking through it, I really like you to think about what is your main takeaway from each one of these. Okay, so I really want this to be very interactive. You can share it in the chat, or you can just think it or write your own notes. Do write notes, because I'm a massive note taker. See if you see my book here. I love a mind map. Mind mapping is everything for me. So I'm going to talk through each one. I'm going to talk about why this is important, what it actually means, and then some tips. So for each one, that's what I'm going to do. And I realise I've got no idea what the time is, but anyway, let's just... Oh, okay, I've got a clock there, that's fine. Don't want to... I can talk forever, as many of you may already know, because I know a lot of you in real life as well. So I will try and keep brief, because there's a lot to say. So yes, for each one, I'm going to talk about what it is, why it's important, and then some real tips and things that you can do, takeaways you can do now to deal with this. And so I'd like you to just what is the big aha moment, or what is the tip that you're going to try first? I'd love to hear about that in the chat, because it's good to know what's resonating with you, but or just write it down for yourself, either way. And if you're watching the replay, notes is the thing. So the first one of the R is our resilient mindset. Mindset is everything, actually. That's why it's first, because we need to work on ourselves and our mindset, and that can feel a bit like, how do we do that? Okay, I've got tips, don't worry. But really, one of the things that quotes that I've heard is that all issues, when it comes down to it, and all business issues really probably come back down to mindset issues. And if we can deal with those mindset issues, we can move forward. So yes, sometimes it's a skill we don't know, it's something that we don't know how to do, and all of that. But Google is our friend. There's lots of ways to find out how to create an Instagram reel, or how to share a post on Facebook. There's ways to learn about those kinds of things, and sometimes the block isn't that knowledge, there's something else going on behind it. So that's where we're talking about with mindset. When it comes down to it, there are only two issues that we have. Two. And this is what they are. One is that we believe that we're not enough, that we're not good enough, that we're not young enough, that we're not brave enough, that we're not, whatever word, enough. Okay? So that's our first fear, and that can really hold us back. So we're not enough. And the second one is we won't be loved. So it could be that you have a fear of sharing about your business because you worry that people are going to maybe just be indifferent, or maybe they're going to, you worry that you're going to have trolls or have attacks or whatever that might be, but you have that fear. Or maybe you fear the people around you in your life, maybe they're not that supportive, and there's a fear around that as well. So basically we have two fears. When it comes down to anything, those are the two fears. We're not enough and we won't be loved. And those things can really keep us stuck and can keep us back. And it's important to think about, firstly, I just want to acknowledge that those are not small things, okay? And they're not things that we're necessarily going to be able to deal with and clear, like, I go, oh, okay, that's fine. I'll just get rid of that and it's gone. And, I know these things, everything to do with our mindset and our, who we are as a person. These are things that take time and investigation and care and love and, so I'm not being flippant about it, because it sounds so simple to say, well, there's just two fears, but actually that's what our life is all about, So, that's important. But the thing is that those fears can keep us back. So they can keep us in imposter syndrome. Who am I to want this? All of those stories can get us stuck. They can keep us back when it comes to dealing with criticism. It can be really difficult if we feel criticized and like we kind of come back into our shell sometimes and worry about moving forwards because of that. We can get caught up in a cycle of perfectionism and procrastination, if I can't do it exactly right, then I'll just leave it, I'll wait, and then keep procrastinating around that. So there's so much that comes up around mindset. Okay, so I've said there's a lot. I've got some tips. Okay, everyone's like, oh, no. I've got some tips. And I know some of you just said in the chat that, these are things that you've been working on and probably been working on for yourself for a long time. So, as am I. Anyone who is saying that they're not, oh no, we don't have any of that stuff, is wrong. And I also think actually it's a bit like a spiral. As we grow and as our businesses grow, we kind of spiral upwards and we kind of hit a new level of imposter syndrome, because we're hitting the next level of our business and more of that comes in. And I think a lot of it is about awareness. We just need to be aware of what is going on for us. And that's our first step, first start. So here are my tips. You'll be like, oh, what do I do? My first thing to remember, and this is important, that is that thoughts are not facts. And I love the quote that says, don't believe everything you think, because sometimes it can be really difficult to kind of unclench from our thoughts, negative thoughts. We see it in other people so much. We have so much empathy for other people, but sometimes we don't have that self-empathy. So we need to start thinking about how can we do that. So firstly, thoughts are not facts. Journaling is great because it's a way of just kind of questioning those thoughts and starting to unpick them a little bit. One of the best questions to ask when you have a particular thought is it true? Coming back to the lovely work of Byron Katie, which is more in depth than that. But I think if a thought is coming to you, I think sometimes we just need to kind of question that thought. Is that true? Because we can really get stuck, caught up on those thoughts. So that's our first thing, is to start to question those thoughts. Is it true that I'm not good enough to do that? Is it true? And start to work on it. Journaling is a great way of doing that, because when we're writing, we're kind of processing. It's like your own your own therapist in some ways. The next question, the things that I would say to do is, a lot of times we think, when we get stuck with something, we kind of start thinking, why am I feeling like this? What, why is this happening? But the problem with that is it keeps us stuck. So that can keep us really stuck. If we're thinking, why am I doing this? Why am I thinking this? We're stuck in like, what is the story that's happening here? And the better question is, what do I need right now? So if you do find yourself stuck, a good question to ask yourself is what do I need right now? And that's going to kind of interrupt that pattern a little bit. And sometimes what you need is a book and a blanket, or a cup of tea, or a walk, or some, it's usually something really basic, as in it's something to do in the moment to make you feel better. And I think that can really help shift from thinking about like, what is happening, what is going on, why am I feeling like this, to what do I need in this moment? And that can be a really helpful thing. And another question that I like is, what would I do right now if I really loved myself? I think I shared this one in my email recently. I think I did anyway, I was going to. And I think it's a really profound question. I used it yesterday, actually. I was feeling a bit like, I don't want to do my 10K 1,000 steps walk. I was like, and then when I asked myself that question, it was kind of clear. Oh, this is what I need to do. This is what's gonna prioritize me. Now, let me just say that for all of this, if you are struggling with your mental health and anxiety and things like that, please be kind to yourself, and know that this is, for everybody, it's a work in progress. But if there's a lot going on in your life right now, or you just know for yourself that this is something that is a big issue, then this may not be the right, these questions may not be right. These are kind of the good questions for people who generally at the moment are feeling pretty much psychologically healthy. So if you are in that situation, hopefully some of this will be helpful, but please do kind of give yourself a little bit of grace. And if you do need to get some support, counselling, anything like that, do get the support that you need, because our mindset, as I'm sure everybody knows, is something that's just so important to all of who we are. So from that, if you want to share, what was your kind of biggest, was there a bit of an aha moment in there? Was there a tip that you thought, oh, I'm going to give that a try? Jess has said, forever stuck on the why. So love this tip. I think it is a really good one, Jess. It's a really, really, really helpful. What do I need right now is much better question, because a lot of times why, there's nothing we can do about the why. But actually what we can do now is look after ourselves in this moment. Okay, so let's move on to, that may not feel like it's about business, but actually it's just so key to who we are as a person. Our resilient mindset is so key, that we need to have those good building blocks to work from. So that's why I talk so much about that. But let's get into more business matters. So the next one is everyday action. What we do every day matters more than what we do once in a while. So even if we do a massive 8 hour, 10 hour, I don't know, not that I would ever do that, but on our job, on our work, on our business, on our growth, and then we don't do anything for a month, it's not really going to help us grow. But if we can do something each day on our business, then that is how we grow. We kind of overestimate what we can get done in a day and underestimate what we can get done in a year. So you may find that at the end of a day you feel like, oh, I didn't get as much done as I wish I thought I was going to do. there's always that frustration around that. But actually, it's that little step by step that's just so important for building a business. And again, maybe it sounds really basic. It's very simple, but it's not easy. I think a lot of the best truths in life they tend to be really simple, but they are not easy. So getting into a habit of doing something for your business every single work day, you have days off, every single work day is really important. Okay. A truth here is it doesn't matter how much you know if you don't implement it. Mic drop. Because there's so many of us kind of doing another course or doing another thing. It's just like, don't quite know enough yet. I'm just, you know enough to build the business, and you can learn the other things on the way. So please don't get yourself stuck in that procrastination, the procrasti-learning, where you think, if I just know this, if I just have this, if I have this qualification. Are any of you resonating with that one? Qualifications are a big thing for us because they work really well for us. That whole structure and certification works really, really well for us, and that is why we can be very much like attracted to doing those qualifications and things. But I think there comes a point where we need to stop and we need to work. So what we need to do is work both in and on our business. A lot of times we can be doing the jobs and the hamster wheel stuff, the day-to-day things, but we also need to be the CEO and do the CEO tasks. We need to be planning and being more strategic around what it is our business needs to do, and where it's going, because otherwise we can be kind of just hamster wheeling it along and not really making progress on the business. So we need to kind of do both. We do need to do both. Most of us are solopreneurs. We don't necessarily work with anybody else, so we need a little bit of the work on the business, and we need to do a little bit of the work in the business simultaneously. Okay, so here are the tips. Tips are incoming. The first one is, and if any of you've got the Good Girl Rebellion app, it's all structured to do this, so you'll know this. But anyway, I'll share it with everybody. You want to plan out what are your work days, and they may change, because if you're working in a job or you have kids or you're caring or whatever, you likely have lots of different things going on for yourself. So what we want to do is be clear of like, what are my work days, or what are my work days next week, or whatever that might be, looking at your calendar, and doing something each work day on your business, even if you've only got like half an hour, and you can do something small, like find the password for something. That's the thing I find. It's like, I need to log into this, but can I find the password? No, sometimes it's that small for me. Anyway, I don't know about you. And sometimes you have more time and you can kind of, you've got more time to do something a little bit bigger. What you want to do is have one thing that you want to achieve each day. Many of you may have seen my mistrust of to-do lists, because the problem with a to-do list is it just doesn't end. Even if you do like 10 things on your to-do list, there's still like 30 more things, and it feels to me like you never achieve it. I call it my future me list. I don't know why. For some reason it makes me feel better, because to-do list feels like some kind of tyranny that I'm just not interested in the tyranny of the to-do list. So I will have like, the one thing I need to do today is this presentation, and then I will feel happy and it will be done for the day. And maybe I'll do something else, but if I don't, I still feel like I have achieved my thing for the day. Because if we have this massive to-do list, it almost feels like you're just always slogging and you're never getting things done. And you are getting things done, but you just feel like you're not. So one thing each day. At the end of your week, before you finish your work for the week, it's good to reflect on the week. Have you managed to achieve what you'd hoped to achieve? Had you set yourself ridiculous goals? Did you say you'd create a whole website in a day or something? because spoiler alert, that's too much. Break it down. And then before you finish for the week, plan next week. So look at your calendar, look at your time. Some people might be, I am not a fan of time blocking at all, because there's some people who just love it. Oh, and if you do, great, if you do. But time blocking is this thing where you have your calendar and it's just got like all of the different things that you need to do in it. And it just makes me feel ill. Does anyone else feel like that? Please let me know in the chat. I just find it's just exhausting just looking at a calendar that's like that. That's not to say I don't know, like, oh, I've got like 2 hours on Monday, so what task will I be able to kind of achieve in that 2 hours? That's fine. But I just, for some reason, all of those time blocking things give me the ick. Ugh, I can't do it. Maybe it's just me. Okay, there's chat. Okay, other people are not a fan, and Amanda's laughing, so I don't know whether that means she loves it and she's just laughing. Yeah, I just, if a diary, I agree, Ali, if a diary looks too full, I get into like a little panic mode. I get really stressed. Well, it's no good for me. But I think there's a balance to be had. I think what I'll try to do is look at next week and think, right, Monday I've got 2 hours free. What task could I reasonably think I could get done in that time? Tuesday I've got all day. Okay, right, I've got more time there. So what do I feel like I can do within that time? And just kind of block it out in that way. Because what we do every day is more important than what we do once in a while. So even if it is only a small action, it can make a massive difference. Oh, there's more in the chat. I'm loving this. Yeah, Brona, the same. Time blocking makes me guilty because if something happens or something overruns, takes the fun out of life. Oh my God, thank you, people. Oh, you're my people. Oh my goodness, hello. I'm so glad you feel the same way. It just doesn't, I know it works for some people, and this kind of comes back to this idea about psychology and understanding yourself and not feeling guilty, because those people who go, oh, I wake up at 5 a.m. and from 5 a.m. till 5:15 I do my meditation, and from 5 I just like, oh no. But then if you see this person as really successful and you think, well, okay, that must be what success means, and this is why I want to tell you that's not for me what success means. For them it might be, and that's absolutely fine, and that's why understanding ourselves is super, super important. Oh, time, oh my goodness. Okay, B. Bold marketing. As my friend Danny Wallace says, closed mouths don't get fed. It is so important to be, when you're in business, to be telling people about it. And it sounds so simple, but it's something that we're not doing. I'm going to say it, we're not doing it. And we need to be doing it, because especially at the beginning of a business, we have to be getting that message out there. We need to be doing that. When you get that consistent income, and when you people are referring you, and there's all of that going on, you can kind of take your foot off the gas. I can't drive, so just ignore any analogies around driving. But but at this beginning stage, we need to be bold, and we need to be getting out there, and we need to be talking about what we do. And all of us, including myself here, we need to do this more. The good girls, we often hate self-promotion. We're somewhere on a spectrum, but we may not really like that. Maybe it feels like showing off. Maybe it feels a bit icky. Maybe it feels like, oh, I don't want to be in the spotlight. There's lots of that. I know some of the people in this chat are having that. Yes, Ali, closed mouths don't get fed. I love that. As good girls, we do often hate self-promotion, and that means we need to find a way to get over that. I'm going to talk about tips in a second, so we're coming into it. But we do know that people buy from people they know, like, and trust. And so they only get that know, like, and trust by us sharing about who we are and what we do regularly, consistently. And consistency is probably the good word for this. We need to be consistent about it. You may or may not have seen the research that says we need 7 or more kind of touch points with somebody before we're confident enough to buy. So that could be finding you on social media, signing up to your email list, you know, reading some emails, going to your website, looking at what you do, what products you have or services you have, thinking about it, seeing you again on social media. You know, it's not just that they see you one time and they buy, and you know that because you don't. You know, it's important that we understand this. So here are my tips. This is the tips section. Okay, what is important right now is to have one website or one selling platform, one email list. You need an email list, even if it's just got you and, you know, your sister on it right now, that's fine. And one social platform. And you want a social platform that is where your customers are. So that could be TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Okay, you may have more than that, but I think it can be overwhelming to be like posting everywhere and just trying to be everywhere, because we need focus. So that's your first thing. Your second thing is your message should be consistent. So you're not saying 100 different things. You're basically saying the same thing in 100 different ways. And I think that's the thing about marketing. And sometimes people are like, oh, you know, oh, I've already shared about this. Not everyone will have seen it, as you know. You can share about it in a different kind of way. I think that's what marketing is. It's sharing one consistent message in lots of different ways and lots of different times. And that's the key to it. That's really, really important. Likely, as a good girl, you can do that for other people, but you struggle to do it for yourself. So you're probably quite good at going, oh, have you seen this person? They do all of these amazing things. But you're much less likely to go, have you seen what I do? I do amazing things. Maybe you wouldn't say that, but you know what I mean. It's that consistency of message, and it is about putting that out there confidently. And I know that people struggle with this. That can kind of come back to our mindset a little bit as well, I think, because there's that imposter syndrome. Well, there's loads of people doing something similar to what I do, so why would anyone care? And just tell you, we care. Okay, actually, if you sell anything, can you please put a link to it in the chat right now, because there's lots of people on here who want to know what you do. So if you've got a website or if you've got an Instagram or something like that, people can come in and follow you. Definitely do that now. I want you bold marketing right now. Share who you are, you know, share whatever link is like the most important one right now for you. Share that. Just what, because I'm looking at my time going, I've got so much to say. I think people can be either online people or face-to-face people. And I think if you know yourself well enough, think about where is better for you to share. Do you prefer online or do you prefer face-to-face? And I think your strategy needs to be different depending on which one of those you prefer. So if online works for you, then great. Go all in on, you know, your social media, your email marketing. Email your list once a month. When you've got something like a promotion or something going on, email them more than that. But once a month, just kind of keep, because they've signed up to hear from you. Okay, so let them hear from you about what you're doing, what's going on. If you prefer face to face, then maybe you want to think about, like, it depends on what you do, of course, but you know, if you sell products, is there a way of selling face to face more? Can you go into shops and galleries and make connections with people that way? Can you sell at markets? If you're a service-based business, if you're a coach or something like that, or if all products actually, could you go to networking events that are local? You know, what ways can you find those customers? I hear a lot about people who just have chats. Dog walkers, apparently, they talk a lot. You know, tell people what you do. Tell people about what you do. It's amazing. You can get clients from wherever you are. So it's about thinking about that in a different way. And I think sometimes we feel like, oh, I don't want to bore people. I don't want to do that. I don't want to bore myself. But we either get to talk about our own business or we have to do it for somebody else's business, you know. So let's do it for ourselves. Let's do it for ourselves. And just remember that bold marketing is all about connection. You are brilliant at empathy. So you are good at having, not, it depends, you may or may not be good at having those kind of conversations, but you understand what people need. And that means that you're in a really good space for that. I can see there's people sharing links on the chat. Thank you very much for that. I will go back and have a look at that later. Because I'm looking at the time and going, I've got so much to say. Next one. This is becoming my soapbox. You are going to hear me talking about this a lot. Pricing. We need to have a business and not an expensive hobby. That is the basics of it, okay? That is what we need. And there's so many people who give up probably quite a well-paid job to work for themselves. They end up working all the hours and for less money because they're not pricing correctly. There is a pay gap in self-employment. It's interesting because we hear about the pay gap in the workplace. You know, we know that women are being paid less, but actually in self-employment, women have less confidence than men. They don't have less skill, they have less confidence, and they tend to be charging about 20% less than men for the equivalent product or service. And it's not that they have less skill. It's not that that their product is worth less. It's their mindset that is making them think that their pricing is wrong. And this is a really big deal, because if you want to have a business that's going to exist in the next few years, getting your pricing right is really, really so important. And this isn't about shaming anyone, by the way. I'm putting this out there because this is something that is happening all over the place for women, particularly around not feeling confident around what price they should be charging. And this is something that I'm going to be doing a lot of work on, so look out for this. It's coming. My tips for you are: look for pricing support in your industry, because I can't say what percentage you need to charge and all of this kind of stuff, because it does depend on if you've got a product business, a service business, lots of different variables. And that's why I think pricing is so difficult, isn't it? Because it's like, what do I do? How do I find a price? But do a search for pricing in your industry, because often there are some kind of pricing calculators, or there's some useful resources for that. So that's the first thing. You can also do research on what are other people with similar kinds of products or services selling them at. You can kind of get a low price, a high price, what is that? Try not to get bogged down in that comparison itis stuff. This is just research into pricing. It's just numbers. It's not about anything else. But it can help give you a bit of a ballpark figure as to where you should be on this. And you also need to remember that you have silent costs that people don't know about: your bills, or postage, or whatever it might be for your business. So you need to make sure that you're factoring all of that in as well. Sadly, 20% of businesses fail within the first year and 60% within 3 years. And I'm not saying that to be put you down, because we can be in that 40%. But one of the things that will keep us in that 40% is getting our pricing right. Okay. And it's an important thing. And sometimes people think that lower prices means that we're going to sell more, but actually that's not necessarily true. Sometimes, price is an indication of value as well. And I think we can get stuck on this. I'm going to do a whole masterclass on this. This is coming, because this is really, really important. But pricing. So what is your takeaway from this one? What is your aha moment? Are you going to look at your pricing? We also need to review our pricing quite regularly, especially with, changes in costs of things and, all kinds of stuff going on. So that is important too. Okay, getting there. So the last thing is, hopefully when we can kind of nail all of this, which yes, I know there's quite a lot to nail here, is liberating results. Because if we can nail these things, we're going to start to grow. And what's interesting is that growth, we always think of it as like a graph that's kind of going up. But it doesn't, it tends to go quite straight. And then it kind of goes like immediately, quickly up. It's a weird thing. And I think people can give up when they're on the straight a little bit. It's not quite straight, a little higher. Let's be higher than straight, but we can give up when we're here just before we get to that stage. So it's important that we kind of keep going, everyday action, keep going. What we want to do though is check, is what we're doing working? We need to regularly kind of check in, working on our business, not just in our business, looking at, are we making the sales? Is this all working? It's good. So my tips for this is to have a money goal. So that could be for the year, it could be for a quarter, set out your parameters for that. But like what ideally would you like to earn within this, or how many sales would you like to make, or that kind of thing. So it's helpful then to measure it against, like, do you make it? Did you get there? And I like to also have a non-money goal. Like what is important about having this business for you? It could be that you love to travel. It could be that there's a particular car that you love to drive, or a handbag that you want. Like, people are motivated by different things. So, for you, whatever that might be, is it experiences? Is it things? Is it, what is that for you? I think it's useful to know that, and to think a little bit about your non-money goals as well. Like what will this business do for you, having your own business? Remember your why. So why did you start this business in the first place? What do you love about it? Kind of coming back to that, because building a business does take time, and it does take, but time goes anyway. Like, time is going to pass, and we may as well use that time doing what we love rather than working for somebody else and building their wealth. Let's build our own. And you don't necessarily have to want to have, £1 million a year turnover, or, float your business on the stock exchange. Some people might want that and other people don't. It may be more about having a lifestyle and being able to give up the day job and work on your business part-time. And, it might be more about lifestyle for you. I think that for a lot of us, that's where we're at. And just to throw in another thing into the mix on this one is a good tip is to have one revenue generating activity per quarter. So the year is set out into quarters. So January, February, March is quarter one, April, May, June, quarter two, July, August, September is quarter three. So that's where we are now. October, November, December, quarter four. So it's good to have something that you're putting out there to make money each quarter. And if you can plan that in, it means that you can then start to build that more consistent income. Okay, that is a lot. I know, it is a lot. And the thing is that we all think we can go it alone, and that all we need to do is get on with it. And I was exactly the same. Honestly, I was like, look, I know what to do. I'm fine. I'll just get on with it. But it's not always that easy to do that. And I'm going to talk a little bit about ways I would love to work with you. Hopefully, if that is not for you, then that is absolutely fine. That you'll have had some great value from this session. And I really would love you to just spend, even 20 minutes after the session, just reflecting on like, what are the takeaways for you? What are you going to go off and do right now? because right now is all we have, by the way. But if you would like help, I would love, this is what I'm passionate about. Hopefully you can hear that in my voice as I'm talking, because I'm very passionate about this. It is difficult to do it for a lot of reasons, but these are the reasons for us and our personality. It's really easy to prioritize everything and everyone else except our business. It's so easy to have great ideas and not implement them. I do this. Like we've all done this. Okay, it's so easy for life to get in the way, especially if you're at the beginning stages of a business. You've probably got loads going on. You're working. You've got family. You've got lots happening. It's really difficult to build momentum when we don't have customers and clients yet, because we just don't have that. We don't have that accountability, actually, because customers and clients help give us accountability. We're never going to let them down. But while we're in that nether period of just starting up, where we don't necessarily have so many of those yet, we can stall out, and a month can go by and we're like, oh, I haven't really done anything. We can get stuck. And I mentioned about the kind of the business failure rate, which I'm putting out there because we can be in the 40%, not to scare anyone. But I think what we need to do is all of that stuff that I was talking about for the last hour. And that's why it's important. I'm going to be doing this is new and I'm really excited about it, a 12-week small group sprint starting in September. So not starting now, because now is not a good time for it, but starting in September, running into December, where we're going to be in a small group and we're going to be meeting live once a week to get help and support and accountability and all of the things that we need. I'd forgotten I put this in. So this is the thing, isn't it? I've got testimonials here, and then we were all kind of a bit awkward and shy about sharing them, but I want to share that I have worked with people who have enjoyed working with me and have really made progress in their business. So Sophia was working on a clothing range which she put out, and she said, oh, I love this. This is so kind of her. Be prepared to turn your procrastination into action and your dreams into reality. That's so cool. And this one, Anna has helped me transform my business. I've been playing small and worried about giving up my low-cost products, but realised they weren't where my heart lay. And when I got the confidence to go all in with higher-end jewellery I really wanted to make, I work with a lot of jewellers. I know a lot of you are jewellers here. My profit increased and my perspective on my business changed. So it's nice to hear these things. Oh, and the lovely Heidi said that I was a genius coach, which, definitely take that. So this 12-week sprint anyway is based on this book called The 12-Week Year by Moran and Lennington, which basically argues, and I think it is true, that we can get more done in 3 months than we can in 1 year. And that sounds weird, but what happens in the beginning of January is we have all of these goals. It's like, yes, okay, I'm going to achieve this by the end of the year. But sometimes and somehow that's time just feels almost too big. And you can be here in July and be like, okay, those things I said I was going to do in January, I'm nowhere near them. But when we only have 12 weeks to work on a big juicy goal, then we've got to really go for it and really got to work for it. So that's why it's important. Accountability and check-in is really helpful for the good girl personalities. I work with a coach. I've got my own sales coach right now because I need that myself, and I'm not going to tell you to do something unless I also do it. It's nice to have a supportive community, as you all are already in here, and I think sometimes what we need to build is momentum. We want to grow, but it's so difficult to grow that momentum. So I think that support and that accountability does help with that. What are we going to do? I'm going to do these at Tuesdays at 8 p.m. BST. It'll be BST for a while and then we'll go back. But 8 o'clock at UK time. And we're going to meet for an hour each week, okay? And each week is going to have a different focus in the month. So this is like for a month. So week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4. So start off at the beginning of the month with our goal setting, like what do we want to achieve this month, and just really prioritize what we've got, our actions that's working on our business, not just in our business. Week 2 is going to be like a co-working session where we're just going to come in and work together, just get on with it and do some tasks for our business. Week 3 is going to be a business success clinic. So if you've got questions around, you're stuck with something's not working in the way you want it to, all of that stuff, that's where you can come in and ask me questions, and you can ask the group. We'll have that support there. And in the networking on week 4, I think it's also going to be a bit the same as the business success clinic, really. It's going to be about just chatting, just, learning from each other. There's so much we can learn and gain from the hive mind. I feel it's just super, super important. The price usually will be $147 a month, but I'm going to have a founder's price, because this is the first time of running this, of £97 a month. Or you can choose to pay in full, so it's a bit of a discount, which is £250 for the 3 months. You'll also get access to the app as well, the Good Girl Rebellion app, for those 3 months as well. So if this sounds like it's something that you'd be interested in, I will share the link in the chat in a second. It is on the website as well, goodgirlrebellion.com, and it's at the top, the group sprint thing. Oh, I forgot about this. Oh yeah. And the bonus, if you do sign up before the 9th of August, you can also get a 1-to-1 hour with me included, which at the moment I only do in 3-month blocks. And my monthly blocks costs $444 per month. So it costs at the moment it's £222. I'm liking the angel numbers. I never was an angel number person before, but I really am now. So so that is an opportunity to work with me 1-to-1. It's a bespoke blend of coaching and mentoring. You'll get a form to start with to just say what you need, so we can really use that hour. It's not going to be chit chat, like go straight into whatever it is that you need help with, and that could be business advice and advice based, or it could be more coaching, imposter syndrome, I don't know, whatever you need based for that. So this is going to be great fun. It's going to be work, because it needs to be work. We need to do the work basically to build the business. But I've designed this very specifically for us and our personalities. So if this is definitely for you, I just need to try and find the link to share with you. But I'm also aware of the time as well that we are running out of. I do also have a few spots left for coaching. So if you prefer to work with me 1-to-1, we do 2 1-hour Zoom coaching sessions per month. So it's basically, we tend to meet fortnightly. And I have a 3-month kind of commitment to get something done. We need at least 3 months to do that. And the coaching, I love it. It's my favorite thing. So that is also available if you really want more like 1-to-1 support with this. Let me just find the link for you. So now, of course, hang on, now I'm just losing it. Present, there we go. I will find that link for you. It is so easy. I'm going to finish now, but thank you so much to everyone for being here and for watching on the replay. But it is so easy today for other priorities to take the center stage. So the Rising, which is the group sprint, I'm calling it, it's going to help you stay focused on your big goal and about building that dream business for you. And it is designed really specifically, especially for you. It's so easy to get to the end of the year and just berate yourself and think, oh, I wish I'd made more progress on my business. There's another year gone. I know this because I've felt this myself. So it can make a massive difference to have that support, to have someone to ask questions, all of that. It's just super, super important. So thank you so much. I'm just looking at, I can see people needed to leave because it was past time, but thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate that, your time today. I'm going to try and just quickly find, I'm going to stop sharing, that's probably the best thing to do. Stop sharing my screen, and go in and find the link for you, which I should have done before. Should remember that next time. But I hope you have found, whether you want to join me and do anything like this, it is up to you. But I hope you have found that helpful, and it's given you some much needed support. And if it has, then that will be, that's the most important thing for me. If you do have any questions or anything you want to ask, then do give me an email on hello@goodgirlrebellion.com, and I'd love to hear from you. But I can see I have run over this session, and I don't want to let you go. So I will, hopefully some of you will join me on the group sprint, or maybe with one-to-one coaching. But thank you so much for today. Have a lovely weekend.